Gator Dave. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, Mike. Thank you, sir. Glad to be here for week 13. We had a little luck last week with a decent showing. Got over the hump a bit with an 8-4. Blind squirrel, I guess. Blind squirrel. And on top of that, got to see a good game. Watch my Gators beat the Tigers of LSU at the Swamp last week, and it was rocking. It was fun. Good times for sure. Sure. So we got week 13. So Bets Utopia, your number one location for all things sports betting. Please subscribe, like, and follow. We need all the help we can get out there, folks. Live shows on Wednesdays at 8. More time for those wagers and getting ready for Thursday games. So, Mike, we got the numbers up there. See what we got? Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So, you ready to rock and roll, man?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
We got Ian and Evelyn in the chat. I know there's others out there. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Talk to us. Talk to us. All right, first game. We are going to the Big 12. We got a few of those games. Don't know why. But first game is Texas Tech.
I picked a lot of them.
I know I did. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm learning the Big 12. I don't know. So Texas Tech getting 3.5 here. They're at Oklahoma State, the powerhouse that is the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Over under is 67.5. So Texas Tech comes in at 6-4. Oklahoma State at 3-7. Texas Tech was on a high for a while, but they have lost 3 of their last 5 games. They lost to the Buffs of Colorado a couple of weeks ago by 2 TDs. They lost to TCU and they lost to Baylor. They did beat Iowa State in between there by 1 point, which was good for them. Cowboys have lost their last 7 games, Mike. Not doing too well. Their last win was back on September 14th against the mighty Hurricane of Tulsa. So that was their last win. Tech comes in at 5-4-1 against the spread. Oklahoma State 3-7. We could go back and forth on this one. Oklahoma State's failed to cover the spread in 8 of its last 9 games. Oklahoma State's lost each of its last 8 games against conference opponents. I'm gonna cut to the chase, Mike, and I'm gonna say, give me Texas Tech to cover the 3.5, sir.
Texas Tech to cover the 3.5. I'm with you. I think that's the play in this one. I don't trust Oklahoma State. They just got their 7th loss of the season. That's the kiss of death from most teams. Once they hit that 7th loss and they're no longer potentially bowl eligible, their performance kind of teeters down a little bit. They start thinking the next year, man, should I sit out? I want to transfer. Am I going to go to the draft? All these sorts of things start moving forward because they know there's no postseason. There's nothing to really play for anymore at this point. Not a good year for Oklahoma State. I think Texas Tech, after their loss, I believe they're coming off a bye. I think they're going to get right. I like them as well to cover that 3.5. I'm with you, Dave.
Awesome. All right. You got the next one, sir. What you got?
Yeah, next one is we're going to Big Ten country with this one, Dave. Wisconsin's making the trip to Nebraska. Nebraska's a 2.5-point favorite. Total sitting at 42.5. For me, this is the Big Red Wave. And by the Big Red Wave, because both of these teams are red and white in colors, I'm going to take the home team in Nebraska. I'm going to take a money line. I think they get right here. They've lost, I believe, 4 out of their last 5 games. Not great. They are 1 win away from bowl eligibility. I saw a not-so-fun stat about Matt Rule win in this situation at Nebraska. He's yet to win a game, sitting at 5 wins as the Nebraska coach over his tenure there. So he is yet to achieve that bowl eligibility. I think they get it done here. I think Wisconsin is going to be a letdown spot for them coming off that game at home last week at night in Madison. It was rocking. They almost got the upset over Oregon. They were that close.
Mm-hmm.
That roller coaster of energy, the high, the peaks when they thought it happened, to the lows when it didn't. That is mentally a struggle to overcome for young kids to do, young men. Uh, Give me Nebraska in a get right game. I think they find a way to channel some of that success that they had earlier on in the season. They get it done at home against Wisconsin, get bowl eligible for the first time under Matt Rule. What do you got, Dave?
I kind of like the call there. You know, both teams are coming in at 5-5 and looking to try to get eligible, like Mike talked about. Wisconsin's lost its last 3 games. Nebraska comes in losing 4 in a row. And Nebraska's lost to USC, UCLA, and of course Ohio State and Indiana. But they have lost to those California teams, which is a little concerning. And Wisconsin did get awfully close there with Oregon at a 16-13 game. They come in a little sketchy. Wisconsin's 4-6 against the spread. Nebraska's 5-4. When I looked at this one, I kind of dug in a little bit. So from an offensive standpoint, we have the number 97 offense against the number 100 offense. And both these teams' defenses are relatively good. Badgers at 34th, Nebraska at 25th. Okay. Wisconsin's averaged 12 points a game in its last 3. Nebraska's averaged 24. So with that said, I kind of like your pick here, Mike. But, Mike, I'm going to go the under 42.5 here in this game. I think it's a snooze fest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. A classic Big Ten football in this one. So it's going to be rough. It's first to 15 wins this ball game.
Yeah, something like that. It's going to be ugly. Not one I'll be tuning into. It won't be in the 4 box. So next game. Oh, we got Caleb in here. He's ready to talk smack on Colorado. Ooh, he says they're going to win again. You think so, Caleb? All right, we'll talk in a minute, buddy. So we've got Vanderbilt at LSU. LSU is favored by 7.5. Of course, they got whooped by my Gators last weekend. The over/under is 53.5. Both teams come in right now. The mighty Vanderbilt Commodores and LSU at 6-4. Vandy losses to South Carolina, Texas, Missouri, and Georgia State. Big win over Bama. LSU's lost its last 3 in a row. They lost to my Gators. They've lost to Texas A&M. They lost to Bama. They lost to USC at the beginning of the year. Big wins over Ole Miss and South Carolina, however. So Vandy comes in 7-3 against the spread. LSU is 3-7 against the spread. We know they got it's the Pavia game with throwing the ball, running the ball for Vanderbilt. Nussmeier had he didn't do too well against my Gators. He got sacked 7 times against them, so we're not thinking much of that. Couple of notes. Each of Vanderbilt's last 6 November games as an underdog against AP ranked teams have gone under the total points line. Each of LSU's last 4 games as the favorite have gone under the total points line. I think this one's going to be defensive battle. I don't think the offenses are going to be strong enough. First of all, we held LSU. I think Vanderbilt's got a decent defense. They've done quite well this year, so I think they're going to hold LSU a bit here. So again, on this game, Mike, I'm going the under 53.5, sir.
Okay. So I am going to go with LSU. -7.5 at home. It's a get-right game. They got to. Something of note that I want to touch on. You mentioned Pavia for Vanderbilt. He just sued the NCAA. I don't know if you saw this. Sued the NCAA because he's trying to play another year. And he's trying to have them not count his time at JUCO. He spent 2 years at JUCO before he transferred to New Mexico State. So he's trying to get those years removed because he didn't have a chance to earn money through NIL.
Interesting twist.
Yes. So he's trying to figure out a way if he could get one more year, and they're trying to figure it out before that transfer portal opens up in early December, because it sounds like as soon as the season's over, he is trying to bounce and get paid.
Wow.
So something of note there for the Vandy side, and ultimately that's why I'm going on LSU. LSU nearly unstoppable. They finally got their first loss a couple weeks back against Bama at home in a night game under Brian Kelly. They had won their last 15 in a row. I think they do this here. I think they cover this 7.5 pretty easily. I look for them to get right in this one. LSU, a lot of ups and downs. They need this one. They lose this one. Yikes. So give me the Tigers to cover that 7.5 at home. Night game, Death Valley.
You see Brian Kelly cussing his receiver.
Did you see one of the other players cussing him back?
Oh, nice! I didn't see that one. That I'd like to seen that because I couldn't believe what he was saying.
It's a little
receiver. Little testy.
It's a little testy waters down there in Baton Rouge right now, Gator Dave.
It is. All right. Next game. Hey, say what's up, Nate?
What's up, Navaski in the chat? Welcome. Appreciate everybody for watching, as always. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We'd love to see if you're watching. Throw something in the chat. Let us know you're here.
Hey, we got Public House. My boys there. We got Linda in the chat. We got 12 watching right now. Say hey. All right, Mike.
Right on. Not that we're counting or anything, Dave. All right, so we're doing a ACC matchup here. Your favorite conference in the country. North Carolina making the trip to Boston College. North Carolina is the 3-point favorite. Boston College, the total is sitting at 55.5. They are the home team. And the reason they're not favored in this one, Dave, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, dude. What are you doing? We're doing a live show, dude. Have some professionalism.
Sorry, dude.
Goodness gracious, dude. Once, all right, but twice? Come on, Dave. Shoot, dude. Man. All right, let me zone back in here. All right. Since Dave rudely interrupted with his security, North Carolina is taking on Boston College. Boston College, the reason they are not favored and they are home is because their quarterback bailed on them. He got benched for a guy named Grayson James. The quarterback name who dipped is Thomas Castellanos. We were high on him all year long. I've talked about him numerous times. I think he's very comparable to Kyler Murray in the way that he plays. He had 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the games that he started this year. He got benched. He was having a bad game. Ultimately, they chose to go with the guy that they benched him for, which ultimately led to him entering the transfer portal and making his intentions clear. So he is no longer there on this team. I think this is North Carolina's game to win. You look at North Carolina's schedule overall this year, a lot of one-possession games. Their schedule and their record could have gone a completely different way. I just think they're the more complete team right now, which is crazy to say about this North Carolina team because, again, bit of a roller coaster for them as well. But they're in a better position here. Give me North Carolina to go into Boston College, get it done. Something to watch is the weather in this one. It's going to be cold. There's potential rain. So look for the ground game to get going. Hampton, the running back for North Carolina, absolute stud. Look for a 200 rushing yard game for him, for sure. Dave, what do you got?
Yeah, he's the number 2 running back, I think, behind our friend from Boise State right now. So he's a flat out stud. So here's what we got. We got UNC at 6-4, Boston College at 5-5, and Mike kind of updated you on the Castellanos thing, and word has it he likes the uniform colors, and I'm surprised Ian hasn't jumped in. He's all the FSU fans are saying that he's coming to FSU. Just a little nugget there. So Mike,
never mind. I'm not even going to go there. Now you're trying to get me started, Dave. You're trying to get me started on this Wednesday night. I'm trying to be peaceful. All right.
So North Carolina, Mike, 2-7-1 against the spread. Keep that in mind. Boston College 6-4 against the spread. Now, we talked about the move from Castellanos to Grayson James. He is not some rookie. He's from FIU.
Oh boy.
His numbers, 60%, 456, 3-2. Had a decent game against SMU. I mean, that was one of the closest games SMU's had. And he came in the second half against Syracuse and won the game for him. So as I look at this, home teams won 8 of Boston College's last 9 games. North Carolina's failed to cover the spread in 5 of its last 6 games. With the change from Castellanos to James, I think our coach up there's got some fire in the hole. And Mike, I'm gonna say, give me Boston College and those 3 points here, Mike. I'm going out on a limb and thinking, it might be a shot in the arm to the Eagles. So we got our first head-to-head.
Love it. Love to hear it. All right, moving on. Back to the Big Ten. You got this one.
Moving on. Big Ten. So, what we have here is Illinois at Rutgers. Rutgers getting 1 point. So, it's almost a pick 'em here, over under 47.5. So, Illinois comes in to the game 7-3. Rutgers 6-4, very close records. Illinois has won 3 of the last 5 games. In those wins, they beat Michigan, Purdue, and Michigan State. Rutgers has lost 3 of 5 games, but however, they won their last 2 against Maryland, Minnesota. Maybe they're on a roll. Against the spread, we got Illinois at 6-4, Rutgers at 5-4-1, pretty close. Quarterback comparison, I'd lean toward Altmaier at 62%, 21-24, 18-3. He's better than Kalakakamanas, if you want to call it that, for Rutgers. Somewhere near that. Running back wise, Rutgers has a running back, Menage, who has 1,000 yards, 1,028, 5.2 a carry, and 12 TDs. So they can run the ball. Yeah. Couple of notes. Rutgers failed to cover the spread in each of its last 9 games against AP-ranked teams. Illinois, they didn't have too much issues with Michigan State last week. They did pretty well. Ended up with 369 yards, 231 passing, pretty solid performance there. Rutgers in their game against Maryland did okay, but they gave up 457 yards. 335 of that was passing. So, Mike, I'm going to take that point. Give me Illinois in the point. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. Ultimately, I think this line opened up at Rutgers. It was like -1.5. So it shifted over to Illinois pretty good since that opening line dropped on Sunday. But I'm ultimately going to go the under in this one. I'm kind of teetered on it because these defenses are pretty bad, especially Rutgers. They don't have a great pass defense. Illinois has a great pass offense. Kind of makes me worry a little bit on that side just because if Illinois gets up early, they could easily put up 38 points on this Rutgers team. Rutgers, on the other hand, I don't know how many they're going to get. So it's really just a matter of how much Rutgers can stop Illinois and get them off the field. Because like you mentioned, Rutgers has the running back. They're going to try to possess the football. They're going to try to run that clock, keep the ball out of Illinois' hands because that offense can score quickly. I think it's going to be a battle in the trenches between, you got Brett Bielema, old Wisconsin coach, Big Ten classic guy, Greg Schiano. Rutgers, he basically built that program. Again, classic Big Ten. It's going to be in the trenches, ground and pound. I'm not sure about the weather for this one, but that's something else, to take note of. Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm assuming this time of the year is probably not the warmest or the most pleasant to be in. Could be wrong. Piscataway. Prove me wrong, all right? Prove me wrong. But I'm going to take the under 47.5 in this one, Dave. again, it really is just going to come down to if Rutgers can get Illinois' offense off the field, because I think Illinois is a good play. I'm with you. I think on that one, it's just going to come down to that. So,
All right. We shall see. Next up, back to the Big 12. What do you got?
yeah, so we got Baylor taking on Houston. We've talked about these teams numerous times. This year, Baylor is an 8-point favorite. Total sitting at 50.5. Baylor's head coach Dave Aranda just got the kiss of life, just like your boy Bayou Billy. They've announced that Dave Aranda is coming back next year, so his job security is safe. I think because of that, they open it up on Houston. They bring everything out that they want to. They let loose a little bit. Give me Baylor to cover the 8 points here. Houston is terrible, to say the least. Donovan Smith, the quarterback for them, we had high hopes for him at the beginning of the year. He is a very talented guy. He basically like Jalen Daniels, but Jalen Daniels for Kansas, who we'll talk about in a little bit, has gotten right these last 5 games or so, whereas Donovan Smith got benched. He didn't really get a chance to. And the backup came in, and guess what? He's doing the same thing that Donovan Smith was. So Houston's in trouble at the quarterback position. That is not a winning formula. Their defense has sort of won them the games that they have so far this season. That's ultimately why I'm sort of hesitant on the over in this one. I kind of leaned that way, but I'm going to go with Baylor to go ahead and put it to Houston. I see Baylor easily putting up 30 here. Very similar to the last game we talked about with Rutgers and Illinois. I think Baylor's got it. It's just a matter of how much and how much Houston can put up on their end as well. So I'm gonna take the sure bet in my mind here, and I'm gonna go with Baylor. What do you got, Dave?
Mike, I think that's a good call, sir. I'm totally with you. Baylor comes in at 6-4, and Houston's a paltry 4-6. Baylor's 7-3 against the spread. Houston's 5-5. And Houston had to go to the backup quarterback, Zion Chris. He's thrown for 542 yards. Mikey's got 4 touchdowns, and he's matching that with 4 interceptions. So not too good, like you talked about. And, oh, by the way, Houston's offense, there's 133 teams that we look at. They're 130. There's 133. They're 132. So second from the bottom, and we won't throw anything at Ian and say who 133 is. So we'll just leave it at that. So Baylor's won each of its last 4 games against non-AP ranked teams. Baylor's had 37 or more points in 4 straight games. Houston looked dismal against a crappy Arizona team. Give me Baylor and to cover those 8 points. I'm with Mike on this one.
I like it. All right, moving right along.
All right, we're going to stay in the Big 12. So here's what we got. We got Iowa State at -7.5 at Utah. Over/unders 41. Iowa State 8-2. Utah is a paltry 4-6. Iowa State has only won 3 of its last 5 games. They've had a couple of losses to Kansas and Texas Tech. Utah, however, has lost 6 straight games. Their last win was against the Cowboys of OSU on September 21st. So it's been a minute since Utah has won. Iowa State 6-4 against spread. Utah 3-7. So here's what we got. Iowa State's offensive line could give up some significant advantages to Utah. I think they're going to get after the quarterback. Utes have a -8 turnover differential to Iowa State's +8. However, Utah does trot out one of the worst offenses in the conference and in the United States. The underdogs covered the spread in each of Utah's last 4 games at home. I think the Utes show up, and this being senior day, they give a decent effort to try to keep those bowl eligibility hopes alive. Because all they need to do is win this one and the last one. I think they've got a gimme at the last game. And I just think that 7.5 is a little too much. I think Iowa State could win by 3, but man, 7.5, I got to take it. So give me Utah in those 7.5 points, Mike.
All right. I'm not taking that. That's bold. I stepped in front of that last week. Not doing it again. Not doing it again, Dave. I'm going to take the under 41.5 in this one. I'm banking on these defenses to be able to shut it down. Caleb in the chat mentioned Zach Wilson's brother. Isaac Wilson, quarterback for Utah, freshman, stepped in for Cam Rising. He has had a tough task this year, kind of been thrown into the fire a little bit. Utah's been pretty banged up as a whole for a team throughout this season. Started 4-0 on the year, has lost their last 6 games in a row. Like you mentioned, they need the last 2 to become bowl eligible, including this one. I think the good news for Utah is this is a night game in Salt Lake City. So, it should be rowdy. Like you said, it's senior day. And I'm not impressed with Iowa State. So I think Utah is a good play on this side, Dave. I'm just not stepping in front of it again. So give me the under and a defensive showdown here Saturday night.
I like it. All right.
Oh, God.
Next game you picked. My team.
I did. And I almost picked my game. I'm not going to lie. I almost did, but I'm back to I don't know who they are anymore. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, we know who you are. We know who this team is. God. We got 5 games left. This is unfortunately one of them. We got Ole Miss making the trip to Gainesville, to Georgeville on Saturday. Ole Miss minus 10.5. Total sitting at 55.5. Your boy, your head coach that you've been praying for all year is finally coming to Gainesville, Dave. Lane Kiffin. He's just still on the other. He's just still on the other team. Unfortunately, he's still on Ole Miss. I think they are going to show out against the Gators. Their playoff hopes are still alive, which is wild. But they are still alive. I think Lane is very well aware of that. I think his team is very well aware of that. And the problem for the Gators is y'all's defense. I think Lane Kiffin and that offense is going to have an absolute field day on that Florida Gator defense. They're going to put up easily 40 points in this game, which is why I'm going to take the over in this one, Dave. I think Lagway and Billy will be able to put up north of 21 against this Ole Miss team. I look for it to be probably competitive in the first half, and then ultimately Ole Miss is going to pull away. But I loved what I saw last week. We talked about it at the very beginning of the show. Your Gators, you were there getting it done at home against LSU last week. I think that actually plays a factor into this one. Some people would believe that confidence is going to carry over. I think they're just riding a little bit too high right now. They've had a rough year. It's been a very, very rocky ride. We didn't even know if Billy Napier was going to be back. Like I said, you've been praying for it all year that he was going to be gone. He's announced that he's coming back. They were able to get this win done last year. You just signed 2 recruits, signed them away from Florida State, high-ranking guys over this past weekend with that game against LSU. I think everybody is sort of back on the Billy bandwagon a little bit, and they're pumping them up, and they're telling them how good they are. DJ Lagway, by the way, absolute stud. Some of those throws that he made in that game against LSU, against DBU, dimes. Dimes as a freshman. He's going to be a problem for the next 2 years. Not looking forward to playing him next year. And I think that's why I'm taking the over, is because of DJ Lagway and his ability to score and lead that team right now. So give me the over. Could be a good game. Probably will be a good game. But Dave, what's your unbiased opinion in this one?
it is unbiased because we're talking the show here, but I really like that play, Mike. And I don't know why I didn't go down that road, but we'll talk here. So Ole Miss comes in 8-2, ranked ninth in the nation. Gators are 5-5. Ole Miss's two losses, Mike, came to Kentucky and LSU. Mike, the Gators beat both those teams. Ole Miss's big win against the Dogs 2 weeks ago. They took care of business. And of course, the Gators' biggest win was last week against LSU. The 5 losses the Gators have had, not against ACC teams. They're against the number 3 team, the number 8 team, the number 10 team, the number 11 team, the number 15 team. So they've lost to some decent teams. Ole Miss 7-3 against spread, Florida 6-4, so we're kind of even there. Jackson Dart's the best quarterback in the SEC, Mike. 70%, 3,396 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He is for real. Your boy Parrish up there, he's got 678. He's averaging over 5 a carry, and he's got 10 TDs. Miami's offense, this is where the rubber meets the road in my pick. Miami's offense is ranked 4th in the nation. Their defense is ranked 5th. Our schedule might be slightly harder than Ole Miss, but it's not that much. If you look at our offense, it's ranked 64th. Our defense is 80th, okay? Ole Miss has won each of its last 5 road games against non-AP ranked teams. Ole Miss comes into the matchup after that huge win over Georgia. I mean, I just think we're outmanned here, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to throw the damn ball on us, which, LSU had a little bit of problem with because we were stacking the quarterback, but Dart's a lot better than our boy from LSU. He can get away from the rush, and he's going to pick us apart in back there. That's why I started thinking about your play here, Mike, and them scoring a lot of points. And I just don't think we just don't match up. I mean, there was some luck involved in that game against LSU. I'll be perfectly honest. I think they could have picked off Lagway 2 times. I think that had they pushed it a little harder, because what happened on their offense is they drive down the field, they get to the 40, and they'd hit a brick wall. They couldn't get past the 40-yard line. They put up a lot of yards, they put up a lot of plays, but they just couldn't score. But the Rebels are going to score. They've got something to play for. They want to be in the playoff. Mike, I hate to say it, but, I'll take Ole Miss in the 10.5 here.
So something I want to point out is you mentioned Parrish for Ole Miss, the old transfer from Miami who transferred from Ole Miss. He's out. He's done for the year probably. So
yeah, but what's his name is back. He's back. The backup is back. Jones. Jones is back.
Oh, okay.
The number two guy is back
this
week.
I was gonna say because the guy that ran last week 2 weeks ago against Georgia is not that guy. Ulysses Bentley. He struggled. He had like 13 carries for 20 yards.
I got the number 2. Yeah, I've got that up there. The number 2 back Jones is back. So that was their, that's their saving grace in terms of running the ball. So, I wish, I hope I'll be there with my grandson Phineas, and hopefully we're out on the field, for a big win. But not feeling real good about this one, Mike.
Yeah, it should be. It's gonna be 12 o'clock. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah. It won't be hot. No, it's not even gonna be 70. It's supposed to be like 65 degrees at kickoff. So.
Oh, so it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, everybody's getting a chill coming down. Chill and crappy weather in the north. So
nice.
We'll see. All right. Next game. Here you go, Caleb. We'll see how your boys do here. All right. We got Colorado, and this is my game, in Caleb's face here, baby. So we got Colorado favored by 3 at Kansas. Over-under is 59.5. So we got Colorado comes in at 8-2. Yep. Kansas is 4-6. The Buffs have won 4 in a row. Their last loss was a month ago to Kansas State, and they only lost by a couple of points. They've beaten Utah, Texas Tech, Cincy, and Arizona, and they've won by an average of 22 points. Kansas, however, has won 3 of their last 4. Wins over BYU last week, Iowa State, Houston. They did lose to Kansas State by 2 in between. So Colorado's 8-2 against the spread. Kansas has beaten the spread in the last 4 games. Caleb. Sanders comes in 73%. He's only got 3,222 yards, Mike. Only touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So here's my deal. If you look at the Kansas BYU game last week, which we killed it. We both picked Kansas in that game. Kansas got lucky in that game. If you dig down into it, I don't know if you got to see it. With me being at a physical game, I don't get to see all the games. You probably had the quad box up watching all that shit, but they got lucky. Kansas got lucky in that game. Okay. Colorado's defense has been vulnerable against the run, but I think they're playing better. Colorado is 7-1 straight up in its last 8 games. Kansas offense has been able to run the ball well in recent weeks, and it's taking a little pressure off that defense. But give me the Colorado Buffaloes and the money line. I said it, Caleb. What do you think?
So I'm with you. I'm going to take Colorado on the money line as well. And the reason being Shedeur Sanders. He's just too much. He's not really getting any talk for the Heisman watch because he got Travis Hunter, obviously on the outside, on both sides of the football, getting all the hype. He's by the way, he's like a minus 350 favorite right now to win the Heisman. Kind of wild.
Who is Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean, I don't see anything else happening.
Personally.
Yeah. That's it.
I mean he's got great stats, but I don't know if he's my Heisman.
No one's ever done this, Mike. No one's ever done this.
All right. No one's ever done a lot of things. But anyway, Colorado money line. Let me get them. This is also my cover your assets game of the week. Cover your assets, folks, by taking the money line here. Colorado is the 3-point favorite. Don't even play around with that 3 points. Cover your assets. Take that money line play. And also, do me a favor. Check out the website, shopcya.com. This is what it's all about. You need a purse. As a woman or a man, it's 2024. I have no idea. You're going to a concert, a stadium, a high school football game, an opera play. Opera and plays are separate, but an opera or a play. You're going to the airport, you could use it there. You're going to the mall, you could use it there. You're going anywhere, you could use it there. I felt like Dr. Seuss right there. Oh, hey, all right. Anything in here? Credit cards, phones, wallets, your goodies. Keep them hidden, all right? When you go through security, they make you put your stuff out. Obviously, they got to check it. But once you get through security, you just snap on the cover, and your assets are covered. Double-sided. Nobody sees what you got going on in the world of tap to pay. You got to cover those assets, all right? Check it out. ShopCya.com. They got all sorts of colors, all sorts of teams. They got some nice little, I don't know if I can speak on it, but there's some big things coming. I'll say that. There's some big things coming, Dave, with old Shop CYA. And get it while the getting's good. So cover your assets here with Colorado money line. Gator Dave.
All right. Let's go to the next game, Mike. It's one of yours. What do we got?
All right. Yes, this is one of mine. This one, all right. So, sorry. Complete separate note. Touching back base on that Colorado-Kansas game for 1 second. We did not mention that game is being played at Arrowhead
At
Stadium.
Arrowhead Stadium, yes.
Played at Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play. It is not a true Kansas home game because Kansas' stadium is undergoing renovations, so they're playing at a couple different places this year. Arrowhead Stadium is the place for that game, so something of note to there. This game is also a game played at a neutral site, Gator Dave. This one's being played in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. We got Army taking on Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 14.5-point favorite. Total sitting at 44.5. That is a low total. I'm just going to say it now. Army did not look good last week. And for that reason, I think is why people are looking at Notre Dame in this spot. You also have Notre Dame playing Navy earlier on in the year. Absolutely handled them. They play Navy every year. They've actually played them very well for a while now. They've had a couple games in the past where they slipped up to them. But Marcus Freeman, since he's taken over Notre Dame, while he has had some slip-up games as double-digit favorites, typically the run option is something that they defend pretty well under his leadership. In this one, however, I think Army comes ready to play. You look at the game last week. Yes, they only won 14-3 against North Texas. Bryson Daly started. There was a lot of controversy and question throughout the week if he was going to go or not. Last-minute decision. He ended up going against North Texas. He still ran for like 150 yards or something like that. Put the team on his back. They were able to get the win. But you look at that game, and that was a classic sandwich game, trap game, whatever you want to call it. The week prior to that, they were playing Air Force, which was the first matchup of the military Commanders Cup. They handled Air Force, then they had North Texas. Now they have Notre Dame. Everybody's been talking about this game. They win this game. They have a clear shot to the playoff, in my opinion. They're already announced after Navy lost to Tulane last week. Army is guaranteed to play Tulane in the AAC championship. So conference sort of titles, at least those slots, those berths have already been decided. It's going to be Army versus Tulane. This one is just a matter of who wants it more, in my opinion. I'm going to take Army first half, going back to my first half well here, Dave. It's been good to me lately. It's been good to me. Army plus 7.5 in the first half. I think they are competitive with Notre Dame in the beginning. I think it could be around 13-7, 17-10, something low scoring along those lines. Army's going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to possess the football. They're going to want to keep this ball out of Riley Leonard's hands for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be ready for them. But are they looking ahead and are they looking past this Army team? They better not, because they're going to come ready. So give me Army first half plus 7.5. I don't think they get it done in this game. I think Notre Dame probably holds them off. Second half, they make a push. Riley Leonard's probably going to have 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. I feel like they're setting him up to be the next Josh Allen. That's sort of trending in that dual threat, but it can launch it kind of capability. Give me Army here, Dave. First half. What do you got in the first half? Plus 7.5.
Here's what we have. So Army hasn't lost, and Notre Dame lost that one game we all know about to Northern Illinois, which is like the second game of the year. So Army has not beaten a team with a winning record, Mike. Their 14-3 win last week over a 5-5 North Texas team was their signature win, Mike. They hadn't really played anybody. Irish, however, signature win over number 15 Texas A&M in the first game of the year. And average wins against little Georgia Tech. They hadn't played a lot either. Army 7-2 against the spread, but they hadn't played anybody. Notre Dame is 8-2. So I'm kind of leading to think that I probably should have bet on Notre Dame here. But, Mike, for some odd reason, I looked at Notre Dame's defense, ranked
There
number
you go.
3. I looked at Army's defense, ranked number 2. So I think we're going to have a snooze fest here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So I'm going out on a major limb here and saying the under 44.5, Mike.
Love it. I love that
So
play. I think it's good.
we shall see.
I think it's good. Army's got a great defense. All right. 2 games left. 2 games left, Gator Dave.
Left. All right. So we're going to go over to SEC for my game. We got Texas A&M going to Auburn. Texas A&M has got favored 2.5 points, 46.5 on the total. Texas A&M is 8-2. Auburn is a paltry 4-6. A&M sits atop of the SEC with Texas. Okay. They lost to South Carolina by 24 and Notre Dame by 10. Big wins over LSU and Arky, but hadn't really played any top-level talent. Auburn, however, Mike, they have beaten Louisiana Monroe, New Mexico, Alabama A&M, and Kentucky.
Heyo.
Those are some powerhouses that the Auburn Tigers have beaten. Now here's a stat for you. Texas A&M's only 3-7 against the spread, and Auburn's 5-5. A&M on Saturday demolished New Mexico State, 565 yards, which they should. The Aggies have put up 34 or more points in 4 of their last 5 games, so they have been playing a little bit better. I think we've all noticed that. The Tigers are allowing 18.7 points a game, so their actually defenses look decent. Auburn has lost each of his last 13 games as an underdog against AP-ranked teams, and Auburn's defense will need to improve against A&M's offense because it's pretty hot right now. So, Mike, I'm going to say Texas A&M in the money line. Yes, what do you think?
So you want to know something crazy, Gator Dave?
Crazy.
This is Texas A&M's 3rd away game, I believe, of the year.
Yeah, and they haven't done too well.
They went at Florida, at Mississippi State, at South Carolina. It's their 4th. It's their 4th away game of the year. They have 8 home games this year. You know what home game they have next week, Gator Dave?
They play in Texas.
They're playing Texas.
So
their classic
everybody's
rival.
thinking this is
the
official.
there you go.
Are you on the look?
They might be, Dave. They might be looking ahead here, Dave. They might be looking ahead in this one. I think you look at this Auburn team. You mentioned the teams that they've beat. You look at the teams that they lost to. Could be a completely different Auburn team. A lot of one-possession losses for this Auburn team, believe it or not. They've had some bad luck, but this is a night game in Jordan-Hare Stadium, senior night. It's going to be rocking. Last home game of the season, top 15 ranked team. They need 2 wins to become bowl eligible this week and at Bama next week. Tough task for sure. Tough task for sure. I think Auburn gets it done, Mike? Dave. I think Auburn gets it done. We're going to take a true head-to-head here. I'm going to take Auburn plus the 2.5. This one also could be – it was a close contender for my cover your assets game of the week, but ultimately Colorado took that one. This one I would also recommend maybe taking it up to plus 3 rather than that 2.5. Get you that little bit of extra insurance. Especially if this game goes to overtime, it could be a double, triple overtime. You know, that 2-point conversion comes into effect now in college nowadays. You want to be on the right side of it. Good news is you kind of would be with that 2.5. I think Auburn can win this one outright. It really is unfortunate because I actually have Texas A&M as one of my potential futures to win the national championship. Real dark horse. So I'm actually going against that prediction here because if Auburn wins this game, Texas A&M is done. They are actually, though, sitting, you mentioned it, sitting at the top of the SEC. Everything in front of Texas A&M right now. Everything in front of them. Could they slip up here? Quite possibly. So, yeah, I'm going Auburn plus 2.5.
All right.
All right, last game of the night. Dave, we got
Daddy game. Mac Daddy game.
biggest game of the week. This is it's so frustrating. Let me just vent real quick for a second here about this Fox noon Big Saturday, whatever the heck they call it. It's
Big
terrible. The biggest game of the Big Ten, which has been some big games this year, kicking off at 12. You had Colorado and Utah kicking off last week at 12. Local time is 10 a.m. 10 a.m. What are we doing? What are we doing here? It's college football. Get these kids rowdy. Get them legally intoxicated.
It's Big
all right,
Ten
get them.
Football,
They
that's the way they roll.
They got to get going. They got to get going. Yeah, two proper. Whoa. You just got channeled in from the Lords with that one. All right, we got to stop talking about it. That was a sign.
What, did you see some lights?
We got number. Oh yeah, you got blinded by the light there, brother. All right, we got number 5 Indiana making the trip to number 2 Ohio State. Ohio State's a double-digit favorite, 13.5 points. It was 14. It's gone down to 13.5. So probably a little bit of money there taking on Indiana initially, but it seems like it's slowed down a little bit. Total sitting at 51.5. We mentioned it. It's a noon kickoff in this one. Curtis Rourke, QB for Indiana, your dark horse to win the Heisman. You still think he's going to make that top 3 finalist?
He is not, Mike.
Darn. You know what I should have stood on when you said that? When you said that, I should have stood on it, and we should have made a nice, friendly wager, but I didn't because I'm a good guy, and I wanted to give you some grace.
We need to remind people of wagers.
You were looking real rough until last weekend. You were looking real rough. We'll just say that. It's not over yet there, Dave. But getting back to this Indiana-Ohio State game, I'm going to take the under 51.5 here. I think both of these defenses are going to come to play. We've mentioned it all show long. The theme has been classic Big Ten football. In the trenches, ground game, nice and cold weather. It's wet. It's going to be the same way. I think it's going to be low scoring. I do not see a lot of points in this one. You got both of these teams that have put up absolute numbers. Indiana specifically, they're sitting at number 5 right now. Top 5 for old IU. Shout out to Evelyn in the chat. But no, they're not ready for this moment. Not yet. Maybe in a year or two under old Kurt Signetti. Not in year 1. There's too big of a talent discrepancy in this one for me. I think Ohio State gets it done. Indiana might be able to cover this spread because I don't think there will be a lot of points scored. Typically, a high double-digit underdog in this situation, you look to pair the under and the underdog, or the over and the favorite. Usually those kind of coincide. I don't know. So I'm going to go with the under 51.5 with this one. I just think it's the safer bet. Defenses are going to come to play. Biggest game of the season by far for both of these teams this year. Absolute must-win game for both of them. It's going to be a good one to start the day. Again, 12 o'clock. What are we doing? Give me the under 51.5. Gator Dave, who do you like in the last game of the night, week 13?
So I'm glad, you talked about it being low scoring. So I'll be sitting in the swamp at noon with Phineas. So won't have to watch this one. I will look back at it because I think it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, Indiana coming at 10-0 and Ohio State at 9-1. Mike, the winner of this game is going to probably play Oregon for the Big Ten championship. More than likely.
Probably a good guess.
Because Indiana plays Purdue after this game.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State plays Michigan. Not much better. So whoever wins this game is playing Oregon in the game, right?
Yep.
and definitely punches their ticket to the playoff. Indiana's beaten everybody by 14 or more, with the exception of Michigan last week. They only won by 5. Indiana's biggest win, however, Mike, is against 6-5 Washington. They beat Northwestern by 17, beat Nebraska by 49. Ohio State's only loss was against Oregon by just a couple of points. Their biggest win against Penn State by 7. They beat Iowa early. They beat Nebraska. They beat Northwestern by 24. Indiana's 8-2 against the spread. Ohio State, Mike, is only 5-5. Keep that one in mind. My boy Rourke, 72%, 24-10, 21 touchdowns and 4 TDs. They got 2 running backs over 500 yards and averaging over 5 yards a carry. Will Howard, not too bad either, 73%, 24-84, 24-5. Their running backs, Judkins, Henderson, they don't play. They're 723 and 662, averaging 6 or 7 yards a carry. So they can run the ball well. So here's what we got. Indiana's offense is ranked number 2. Ohio State's offense ranked number 12. Defense, Indiana number 7. Ohio State number 1. Two
Hell of a
good
matchup.
defenses. Two good
Hell of a
defenses, Mike. Ooh, I see where that under came from. All right. The favorites covered the spread in 8 of Indiana's last 9 games. Ohio State Buckeyes are definitely the more talented team, and we know the winner of this game goes to Big Ten championship. I think the Buckeyes are going to win the game, but the big question here is, can they cover? If we look at strength of schedule through Week 12, Ohio State's is 18th. Indiana's only 66, Mike. But I just can't see Indiana getting beat by 2 touchdowns. Give me the Hoosiers and those 13.5 points, Mike, to pair with your underdog under.
Love it.
Pairing
Love
it up. Pairing it
Synced
up.
up.
So
Synced up. Beautiful.
we shall see.
All right.
That's what I got.
Let's run through the recap real fast. So we are both on Texas Tech. We are both. Or I'm on Nebraska. You are on the under in Wisconsin, Nebraska. I'm on LSU. You're on the under in Vandy, LSU. We got a head-to-head, true head-to-head here. North Carolina for me, Boston College for you. You're on Illinois against Rutgers. I'm on the under in that one. We're both on Baylor. Iowa State, Utah. Give me the under there. You like Utah and the Utes to get that 7.5 points to get the cover. Mississippi, Ole Miss, Florida. I am on the over 55.5. You got Ole Miss minus 10.5. We're both on Colorado. I got Army first half plus 7.5 against Notre Dame in the Bronx. You are on the under 44.5 in that game. I got Auburn at home plus 2.5 against Texas A&M. You got Texas A&M in another little true head-to-head there. And then last but not least, Indiana, Ohio State. I'm on the under 51.5. You're on Indiana plus 13.5, that game that we just wrapped up talking about. Gator Dave, anything you want to say to the people before we sign off for week 13?
Well, I do want to say thank you to all the folks that were in the chat tonight. Nice chat, nice yapping. Appreciate you guys jumping on board. We very, very much appreciate it. Please please subscribe so you know when we come out here and jump on, and and your phone beeps, when we come on the air, and it doesn't beep when your doorbell.
Like Gator Dave's did a couple times. It beeps just like that. Just like that. Let you know that we're on.
That's what we want. That's what we want. So we'll see if Florida can get that 6th win already, or it has to wait till next week against Florida State. We'll check on that. And know that I have Oregon, Georgia, and Texas still in play for the national championship.
Look at you. Those are the 3 favorites right now. I think they're like plus 375, somewhere around there for all 3. Please 375 plus 500, somewhere around there. So
fingers crossed, because I spent a lot of money to get there, right? So
I think Ohio State is the other one. I think it's those four
Yep.
that are less than plus 1,000. I want to say everything else is kind of up there. Colorado, I believe, is still plus 5,000 right now, and they're looking like they're gonna cruise right on into that playoff potentially. Could be a problem for somebody.
I think they're going to get in there, and then they're going to be for real in the trenches, because I don't think the trenches are going to stack up for with the SEC or the Big Ten. So the Big Ten. So we'll see. But we appreciate everybody being on. Looking forward to this Saturday with my little grandson Phineas. He's not little anymore; he's getting big. 10 years old. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, like I say, maybe Blind Squirrel finds a nut and we're on the field. We'll see. Go Gators!
All right. Thank you to everybody watching. Quick reminder, NFL show is going to be tomorrow night. It's going to be Thursday night, probably about 8 p.m. Eastern. So same sort of time that we did last week. Same sort of time that we do the college shows, only on Wednesday. So tomorrow night, Thursday night, November 21st, should be 8 p.m. Eastern time for the NFL show with Steel City Scott and myself. So make sure to tune into that. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We are going to have to figure out next week's show. I think we should be okay. But we'll converse. We may have to pre-record. We shall figure it out. But either way, you shall see a show next Wednesday night, folks. But until then, peace out. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. People in the chat, we love you. Shopsy YA. All right.